It's time for the most exciting part of the course. We're going to play the music we uploaded into our app. From the looks of the player, you can probably already tell we're going to keep things simple. Before we get into the code, let's go over the process for making the player functional. I've outlined the series of steps we'll be taking to completing the player. First things first, when the play button is clicked on the song page, we'll want to store the data in the state. We've been using a combination of storing the data in the state or components data object. The state is more appropriate because we want the music to persist across all pages in the app, reducing any interruption while the user browses for more music. It wouldn't be a good user experience if a visitor had to stay on a page to listen to music. Storing the music in the state is the best way to approach this because the state is available on all pages and components. After storing the music in the state, we can take care of playing the music to the user. We'll be adding interactivity to the player with functions and events. Towards the end, we'll pause the song after it's finished playing. Even though it's a simple player, you can already see that a lot of work is going to be done to get it to work. I'll be sure to walk you through every step of the way. Playing music in the browser is a relatively easy task. There's even an HTML element that will create a basic player for you if you don't want to create your own. However, if we're going to manage most of the UI, we need to use JavaScript to accomplish that. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to a library called Howler. Howler is a powerful JavaScript library for playing audio files in the browser. Howler provides an API that is lightweight, but flexible enough to make playing audio a breeze. This is what we'll be using to play music. In your editor, switch to the command line. Let's install the package with npm. If the server is running, turn it off. After doing so, run the following command: npm install Howler. Let's begin with playing the audio. Open the song component file. This component is where things will start. We want to initiate everything from the moment the user clicks on the play button on the page. Search for the button in the template. On the button, attach the click event with the prevent modifier. The name of the function to execute will be called newSong. This function doesn't exist, but we're not going to define it inside the component. Since the song data will be stored in the state, it would make sense to add the logic for managing the song data in the store. We won't be writing a lot of the logic in the component. Keep in mind, we have an audio player at the bottom of the page. This portion of the page will need access to the audio data. Defining the logic in our store is the best way to go. The newSong function will be an action function. Before we define the action, we will want to pass along the song data property to the action. Next, let's create a new store. We should dedicate a separate store for managing the state of the audio data. Inside the store directory, create a file called player.js. At the top of the file, import the defineStore function from the Pinia package. Afterward, export this function under the default namespace. Set the ID to player. We can start configuring the store by passing in an object as the second argument. Inside the object, add the actions property. Define the newSong function as an asynchronous function. This function should accept the song data. The action is not available in the component because we're not mapping it. Go back to the song component file. We're going to map the action. In the script block, we're already importing the Pinia package. Update the import statement to include the map actions function. While we're here, import the player store. With the function imported, we can call it inside the methods object with the spread operator. We're using the spread operator to merge the functions mapped from the store with the methods already in the object. Let's pass in the player store as the first argument to the function. The map actions function expects us to pass in an array of actions we'd like to map. We want to map the new song action function. That'll add the action to the component. Head back to the store. Inside the object, add the state function. Next, define a state property called current song with an initial value of an empty object. The last step is to update this property with the song data. Inside the body of the new song action function, set the current song property to the song argument. We're finished. It's been a while since we've worked with the state. Don't worry, I'll recap everything we did. For now, let's try testing our work. In the browser, refresh the page. Before pressing play, open the View Developer Tools. We want to check if the state updates when we click the play button on the page. Press the play button for any song you want. After clicking the button, we can verify the data was stored in the state by viewing the Pinia tab in the Developer Tools. If we look at the Player Store, the current song state property has been updated with the song data. Now that the song is saved in the state, we can begin to play the music. Before we do that, let me recap what we did. In the song component file, we added a click event listener to the play button. When the event is emitted, a function called new song will run. We're passing on the song data to the function. Down below, we imported the map actions function. It'll help us map the new song function from the store to the component. The song data will be stored in the state. It makes sense to define the function that will manipulate the state in the store rather than in the component. That's why we're choosing to define it as an action. The function we're mapping is called new song. From within the action function, the song data gets saved in the current song state property. It's a pretty straightforward process. We can proceed to the next step, which is to play the song using Howler.